which is what FOE, or FOE, stands for, in case you guys are curious, and OD, of course, stands for overdosed. Alright, first player being going to be the ace for OD, usually, unless this is a Diamond Master Clan War. But generally, Slangin is the Akkad ace, so it's going to be interesting to see what happens. And we are in the game, and up here in the top right side of the map, Frost. Probably a lot of people's favorite map. It's going to be the blue Protoss for OD. We have Slangin. And up here in the top left, the green Zerg player playing for Final Ownage Elite. It is Taijie? 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 I guess Taijie sounds a little bit better. I don't know. I might slip up on your name a little bit, so sorry to all the FOE guys, and to Taijie, in case I do go ahead and mispronounce his name. But we look at the openings here. Taijie going for an extractor trick there. It's never terrible, just being able to delay that Overlord a little bit and get that extra drone out. So by the time this Overlord finishes, he should have about 3 larvae saved up and 150 minerals, and he just makes 3 drones all at once. So this is a little bit more greedy, but it feels slower if you're a Zerg player. But we look at Slangin as well. He's got that pylon down here on the low ground, so going to be opting for that Forge Fast Expand. And close by ground here, this opens up a lot of possibilities for Slangin early on. It's actually close by air, not close by ground, excuse me. But again, this does open up a lot of possibilities for Slangin early on, and even into the later game, as, you know, Protosses nowadays have been going Stargate open. I don't think that's a surprise really to anybody, as Stargate's been around for quite a long time, and there's the possibility for Phoenixes and Oracles and whatnot to just kind of pick off any kind of Overlords around Slangin's base and kind of give him map control and just kind of be generally a nuisance. So Taijie going to go ahead and go for that 15 pool instead of the 15 hatchery. He's going to go for the 16 hatchery now, which is standard, but deciding to play it a little bit more safe, whereas Slangin's going the greedy route and going that 16 Nexus into that 17 Forge. So he's not going super, like, mega greedy, but he's going greedy. The greediest build a Protoss can go for is a Nexus and then a Gateway, and just delaying or skipping the Forge altogether. So I like Slangin's opening. This is something I do all the time when I play Protoss. And Slangin asking for a pause here for just a minute. So I'm going to go ahead and look at the state of the game here. We've got a hatchery coming down for Taijie. We've also got the spawning pool done, and he's got 4 lings on the way. Most likely just to kind of take control of these 2 Zelnaga watchtowers, and then just kind of come over here and scout and see what is up in Slangin's base. And this Forge may not be done in time to get that cannon done. I mean, the Forge is going to be done, but the cannon may not be in time. So 2 lings may be able to slip in here and catch the timing of pretty much everything that Slangin is doing. So we're going to have to see what Taijie does with these lings. Like, these lings may not seem like they can do a lot of damage, but if Slangin doesn't react correctly, 2 lings even gets a probe kill. They are so worth it. They go in, get all kinds of scouting information, and they even get a couple probe kills. So it's good. Looks like Slangin asking for ready. Taijie saying go. 3, 2, 1, and we are back in this game. So from Slangin, I honestly do expect a Stargate. This is something I've seen him do a lot, is the pretty standard Stargate opening, which, again, as I said, you know, gives a lot of airspace control, gives a lot of map control in general, and can just be generally annoying if the Zerg under-prepares, and also gives you really good scouting information. You're able to get in there, see, okay, it's Hydras, okay, it's Roaches, okay, it's Mutas, whatever it may be. And there goes the 3rd hatchery, pretty decently early for Taijie, and he's going to come down and he's actually going to go ahead and confirm this natural from Slangin. So Taijie's probably feeling really safe. He knows he's got all the scouting information. This probe of Slangin will die, but does confirm this base. Now, question is, what has Slangin seen? Slangin actually hasn't seen this 3rd base from Taijie, and will not by the looks of things. That probe did die, as I do not see it on the map anywhere. So that's kind of unfortunate for him, and Taijie's just going to go ahead and take this closer watchtower, which is, this watchtower is going to be the biggest difference in this game. Like, whoever controls this watchtower is going to be feeling really comfortable. So Slangin actually forced to send out another probe due to that initial scouting probe being picked off by those lings. So this is kind of annoying as a Protoss. Maybe this is for a proxy pylon. It's also a possibility. But It's kind of annoying for a Protoss player because I mean, you know, you want your initial probe to get the full scout. You don't want to have to send out another one, lose mining time on a second probe, and then just feel generally annoyed by having to send the second one out. But I think Taiji has had a lot of time to actually see this probe go across the map, so I don't think this probe is going to remain hidden too much longer, unless, of course, Taiji was looking somewhere else and did not see this probe. And I think it'll just skirted across the edge of that Zelnaga, but it's going to get in. It's actually going to confirm the third base here. So really good stuff so far from Slangin, able to confirm this third base and just kind of sneak a probe around and generally make Taijie feel a little bit uneasy with a probe on the map. And once this probe leaves vision, it's really, really scary for a Zerg. But looks like Taijie knows exactly what's up. He's going to go find that probe and he's going to kill it. Meanwhile, Slangin moving out with a Mothership Core, a Stalker, and a Zealot to go ahead and try to pressure this third and see what he can do. And this probe is actually serving as a distraction, pulling 3 of the 4 Zerglings away from where the attack is actually going to start. This one Ling is the only thing that is here, and I like what Slangin's doing with that probe. Again, he confirmed the third base, and he's also able to move out with a decent amount of units. He's now got a second Stalker on the way, and these Lings are finally going to go ahead and maybe be able to react to this, and this probe barely surviving with 2 hit points left and will get a pylon down, so things are starting to look a little bit scary from Taijie. Going to be forcing a ton of units out right now is Slangin, 22 Zerglings. And in the meantime, Slangin has just now enough for that photon, or for the recall. So if he takes just a horrid engagement and just gets completely surrounded and all of his units are about to die, he just presses R, presses a Nexus, and then there you go. He's recalled out completely. Maybe his hotkeys are different, I'm not entirely sure. But Slangin, man, he can't lose his Mothership Core. He loses it. Oh man, that's never, ever, ever good. Now this entire Protoss army is stuck out here in the middle of the map versus all of these Lings, but at the same time, look how many Lings Taijie has produced. 40 Zerglings. That is way, way more than what you want at this stage of the game. At this stage of the game, you want 10, 12, max, I would say 16, but 40 this early? That is a big, big overcommitment there by Taijie. So I think Slangin's feeling really good with what he's done, but now the big question is he going to be able to hold this counterattack? He does have a sentry here, so that's definitely going to help him. Ling speed isn't quite done, but once Ling speed finishes, things are going to start to get really, really scary for Slangin, as remember, Lings are pretty quick. The Roach Warren just finishing for Taijie, so does have that possibility to make those Roaches, and Lair coming in now for him as well. And Slangin actually not doing the Stargate that I see pretty much every PvZ he plays. He's going to go ahead and go Robo in this game, so this opens up the possibility for Immortals, but with this Twilight Council, I'm thinking maybe a +2 Blink attack. Yeah, and there's the ping. I'm not sure what they're pinging. Oh, these idle drones. Okay, I see what they're pinging now. So, yeah, those idle drones are kind of a problem there for Taijie. And Slangin has his proxy pylon up here, and this is going to be pretty good, actually. This could serve later game a lot of harassment potential towards this fourth, and even towards the natural or the third. And Slangin is definitely known, at least from my point of view, for his late game zealot counterattacks that are just everywhere. All times. It's got to be so infuriating for the Zerg. But Slangin going to go ahead and look to take his third base, but actually not mineral walking that probe past the sentry. So he's going to have a little bit of a tough time. And again, all these Lings are still out here. 37 of them are still out on the map, and 11 Roaches on the way. And oh no, these Stalkers get caught out in the middle of the map. Now Slangin being a little bit aggressive. I don't know how much I like this, but there are quite a few Zealots, and with that +1 attack, they're going to be able to slaughter these Zerglings in just 2 hits apiece, instead of that normal 3. And this Nexus will get down just as the probe dies, so that's really lucky there for Slangin. Slangin could have taken a little bit of a hit to his economy, and here we go. Taijie's going to go ahead and move in, and Slangin's probably thinking, oh crap, I forgot there was this many Lings and now there's Roaches. And I think Slangin's going to be forced to recall. He actually doesn't have enough energy. Looks like he's about 8 seconds away from a recall, and this entire army of Slangin's going to get completely cleaned up. And Taijie, man, making this matchup look easy. He's just like, oh, okay, I'm going to overcommit, and then I'm going to sit there, and then I'm just going to make Roaches, and I'm just going to go for it, because I don't see why not. And this third base from Slangin's definitely going to have to be canceled. I don't see any way he's going to be able to hold this. Yes, he has a lot of sentries and an Immortal, but just one Immortal I don't think is going to be able to do enough versus this many Roaches. Currently 19 on the field, and again, I mean, yes, this third base was canceled, and that's exactly what Taijie wanted from this attack. Slangin giving us a little bit of lag here, but Again, Taiji did cancel this third, which is really the big focal point for him at this point in the game. He really wanted to get in there, cancel that third, and say, okay, cool. He's going to go ahead and find the proxy pylon now as well. So Taiji, with this little movement out, was again able to kill a decent amount of Slangin's initial army, forcing the rest of the army out, forcing the third base to be canceled, and now killing the proxy pylon as well. So that does delay Slangin's, I guess, counterattack potential there a little bit. So that's a really nice move out there from Taiji, and I think he feels really, really comfortable now, and he's going to go ahead and start getting those Hydras on the way. That Groove Spine's nearing completion, and there's that Blink, as I was talking about, from Slangin. Slangin throwing all of his Chrono Boost into all of his Gateways and Robotics, and even his Blink, and Taiji's going to come back in here, and this Ling is attacking this third base, and is Slangin going to go ahead and be prepared to this time? Looks like he will force Taiji back for now. Still no force fields thrown out here from Slangin, so Slangin's doing a really good job on, you know, not blowing force fields needlessly. And that's something a lot of Protosses do. They see an army and they're like, oh my god, I need force fields. And they throw down a ton of force fields and then they don't have them for later on. But again, these Hydras are going to be a big problem, I think, for Slangin, because his robotics base just now finishing, and there's not even a Colossus on the field. And Hydras versus Gateway units, we all know how that turns out. And Taiji's going to go ahead and run in here, and he's just going to slaughter everything. The cannon goes down immediately. Yes, Slangin's got a 3 Immortals, but 3 Immortals really aren't the best versus Hydras. And a really nice pullback there by Taiji, actually avoiding some of the force fields. The third was canceled again. Now Slangin is forced back up his ramp here at this third base. Slangin going to try to warp in some Zealots to try to save himself, but the Spire's on the way now for Taiji as well. So even if Slangin's able to somehow hold this, the Muta transition is going to be absolutely brutal for him to deal with, as there's no Stargate on the field at all. But I think Taiji may break Slangin right now, as Slangin trying to really react to what Taiji's doing, and I think that early aggression and that early move out from him, where he lost pretty much his whole army and the third was canceled, I think was the big turning point in this game. Because yes, here comes the force field, so Slangin is going to be able to hang on for now. But again, once the mutas come out, it's gonna be a world of hurt here for Slangin. Yes, Slangin does have an upgrade advantage in that 1-1, but Taiji, again, with the Spire, there is no way Slangin is going to be able to really react to this. Yes, he has Blink Stalkers, but once mutas get to a certain, like, about 20, 25 mutas, the Protoss just cannot deal with with that amount of mutas with just Stalkers. You need Phoenixes, and now Taiji's going to come in here, break down these rocks, give himself a little bit more surface area to work with, and Slangin actually going to push out, and this may turn into a base trade situation here really, really quickly. This 1 sentry here to hold the door, there's that force field, and forcing Slangin back now is Taiji, but Taiji is completely trapped, but again, he can kill this entire army. The Colossus is going to get focused down there. Nice micro so far from Slangin, able to go ahead and pull that guy back, but I don't think it's going to be... Well, no, Slangin is actually making a decent hold here. May be able to kill off the entire army here of Taiji, which is really, really good. And Taiji's macro is something that I do kind of want to go ahead and nitpick at a little bit. I mean, he's got 4K. Okay, he just spent all his gas on 17 meters, but he still has 2,000 minerals in the bank, and he wasn't really maxed out. He was saving up a bunch of gas, which I guess is okay, because, I mean, you don't want to spend all your supply and don't have enough for mutas. But here come these mutas again, and call 911 says Danish. Yes, this is going to be an emergency for Slangin. He's going to go ahead and have to get this resolved, but there's no answer to these guys. There's just so many mutas popping out of these eggs now, and Slangin sees this with his observer, and he's probably thinking, oh my god, mutas, why? You know, and these mutas are just going to roll his army. They're going to be able to keep him back. He's going to be able to play a very base tradey scenario now as Taiji, and Slangin knows he's got to make something happen now. He can't just continue to sit back. He's got to push out, and he's got to do something right now. If this muta count gets too high, that's the end of his army, and here we go. Taiji's going to go ahead and come in here with these mutas. These 2 Colossi still do stay alive, but again, these mutas just doing so much damage. There's not enough Stalkers here, even though they have Blink. Blink Micro is not being utilized at all, and yes, Essentials with the Guardian Shields did a decent job at really reducing a lot of the damage from those Glaive Worms, but I think this is going to be the end of Slangin here with all these mutas out on the map. There's nothing he can do. Probably the worst game I ever played, says Slangin, and GG. Taiji going to go ahead and take game number 1. So, again, like, it's not the fact that the mutas caught him off guard. Like, that's definitely a big part of it. But the other part of it is we had that Zealot Stalker Mothership core pressure. Of course, the second Stalker got there a little bit late and forced 40 Zerglings out of Taiji, which means that's a massive, massive investment. So he knew he had made a ton of lings, so he got a roach warren, got a decent amount of roaches, and said, okay, I've got roaches, I've got tanking power, I've got a little bit of range to my army now as well, and I can kind of kite zealots, and that HP is going to help me versus those zealots if they go ahead and start running into the roaches. So I'm going to go pressure Slangin and see what I can do. And at the same time, Slangin is out in the middle of the map without a recall, which is the biggest problem I feel for Slangin. Slangin was out on the map without a recall, had like 8 seconds left when the entire army died, and really, what can you do after that? I mean, the army died. Taijie swung into the third base, canceled it, and it was just honestly a downhill slide there from Slangin now as from that point on. Um, so that's my opinion on that game. And yeah, we'll go ahead and wait for the next lobby to get set up.